So I actually haven't made a video in a while. I haven't made a video, I think, since the US Open, and I found myself tweeting a lot about the past couple of Novak matches, and I kind of thought about it and decided, well, might as well make a video if I tweet that much. So I think my initial thoughts when it comes to this match today versus Sinner and the previous match versus Alcaraz is that these were the two best performances of Novak Djokovic in the 2023 season. Now you can kind of, or you have to kind of exclude the, the late second set kind of unlucky mistakes. I think it should have been 6-3, 6-2 versus Sinner easily, or maybe a 6-3, 6-1. But I'm pretty sure that should have been much, much easier. He kind of wasted a couple of opportunities. A couple of marginal things didn't go his way. A couple of lines, a couple of net courts. Anyways, but those 4 sets were really, really high quality. And although Novak won 3 Grand Slams, 2 Masters tournaments, he is #1 again, a bunch of records, I kind of felt that he was never that, dominant as he used to be maybe in 2011, 2015, early 2016, and kind of 2018, early 2019, when he dismantled Nadal in the Australian Open final, for example. And I thought that there was always something wrong. Is it the energy levels? Maybe sometimes he's like fatiguing. Sometimes he has a stretch of like 2 or 3 games when it's just off, when he gets, irritated with the crowd, and he feeds off the crowd. But there were some moments that, the crowd kind of overwhelmed him. There were some moments when he was missing. I was kind of annoyed by a couple of big matches when he was serving around like 55-60%, and the first serve wasn't that effective. I also thought his ground strokes and overall base game sometimes wasn't as solid as, let's say, in 2015, because I think when you think about peak Novak, you think about this unplayable guy who's going to win every baseline point, who's never going to give you anything, is a absolute wall, and the only thing you can do is perhaps serve bot against him and hope that, you get a mini break and a tiebreaker and, just kind of pull through. And I thought that the quality wasn't that high, but in these 2 matches, this was, I think, like I said, if you kind of exclude a couple of weaker games in the late second set versus Sinner, and a couple of unfortunate, net courts and breaks, I think that this was really peak Novak. Like, this guy was absolutely unplayable. His defense was ridiculously good. His returning was also excellent. I just kind of remember that I was annoyed a couple of times this year when he was missing. Of course, against Hurkacz, you won't get a lot of, good return games. But sometimes I'm watching this, and I remember the Wimbledon match, and it was, like, absolutely hopeless. And I never felt so hopeless. Even against, I don't know, Kevin Anderson, they played at Wimbledon a couple of times, or against Peak Federer or somebody like that quality. And I kind of felt like, man, this guy's like acing 30-40 times, and even when Novak gets the racket on the ball, he's just missing on these returns, and sometimes he's missing on second serve returns. So I think the returning was absolutely ridiculously good in the 2 matches against Alcaraz and against Sinner. Nothing really bad happened. No emotional swings, no energy swings, no bad streaks of points, etc., etc. And I think that these were the 2 best performances of the year. Now, it's really interesting because, of course, Sinner could have lost to Holger Rune, and there was a break point in the late 3rd set, and it was second serve, and I was watching that match, and I was absolutely ready to get annoyed, because I thought that it's going to be annoying. Like, Holger Rune, to me, is just this annoying guy. Every time he plays with Novak, it's going to be an annoying match. It's going to be 3 sets. This guy just refuses to die. It looks like he's going to collapse on the court. It looks like his leg is going to get amputated. But somehow he sticks around. Somehow he doesn't let his serve being broken. Somehow he finds the serve. Somehow he breaks Novak. And, Sinner actually dominated the first set. And actually wasn't watching. I was following on my phone the score. And when it was second set and it was like 5-5, I thought, man, he's going to win this set somehow. It's going to be either 7-5 or 7-6. And guess what happened? Holger Rune won. the second set, and then started watching, and I saw that both of them are struggling physically, and there was a couple of semi-opportunities for Sinner, but of course, Holger Rune, as always, he pulls through, although this guy had a 10 of 11 match losing streak in the middle of the season. This guy somehow, when it comes to Novak, finds the peak. Like, he looks like, his legs look like Nadal, and he's just like playing with his shorts. He pulls them up his ass. He is as annoying as Andy Murray when it comes to defending, and his attacking versus Novak is somehow like prime Federer. So it's just this Holger Rune guy. And, when Sinner just kind of refused to be clutch in the third set, I thought it's over. And then the 8th game of the third set, and it's a break point, and the second serve, and I'm like, okay, it's done. Novak is going home. We're going to watch the Davis Cup. It is what it is. And then, the world number 1 is going to be contested versus Carlos Alcaraz at the Australian Open. But he finally shanked a return. He finally choked when it comes to Novak, when it comes to the whole concept of Novak and being annoying when it comes to Novak. He finally shanked the return, and he got broken the next game, and it was all over. And at that moment, I pretty much thought that Novak was going to win this tournament. Because, yes, he says something like, well, I don't really care, I won't watch, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that Novak is not going to lose twice to the same guy in the same tournament. Obviously, there is not a lot of opportunities that you can get to lose to the same guy twice in the same tournament. But I thought that Novak, there is no way he's losing to Sinner twice in this tournament. So the only thing was Carlos Alcaraz. But I thought that this year, I think Novak is slowly figuring Carlos Alcaraz out. And when it comes to hard court, I know this is high-speed hard court, and this is technically closer to grass, but I think that when it comes to hard court, I think that's the worst Alcaraz surface. Because on clay, this guy is unplayable. He's going to return every ball that you hit, and he's perfectly capable of hitting winners with his ridiculous forehand. So it's pretty much really hard to play him on clay. When it comes to grass, people were telling me that, oh, he cannot move on grass, blah, 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 which is true, of course. But his play really suits grass because he is, again, a really aggressive player. He's like Federer with a little bit worse serve. He has excellent volleys. He has a brutal forehand, and he is able to defend well on grass. So on grass, again, Carlos Alcaraz, that's why he won Wimbledon. He broke Berrettini like 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 times in that match. I think it was like 6 times because they played 4 sets. He was ridiculously good when it comes to returning on grass. And of course, when it comes to attacking, he's also ridiculously good. But on hardcourt, I feel like there is no edge when it comes to Alcaraz. I think everybody plays well on hardcourt. I think he doesn't have the greatest serve of all time. And a lot of guys are able to get through their service games versus Alcaraz. And also, there is just like no edge. There is no clay. There is no grass. It's just like indoor hard, and everybody's kind of like same. And they played 4 times so far. This was the 5th time, and I thought Novak was going to figure him out, and guess what happened? He did figure him out. He absolutely dominated him. Alcaraz was serving out of his mind, but Novak was great on return. I was really happy with his return, and he won the match really smoothly, 6-3, 6-2. And you can see that Novak respects Carlos a lot because he is always 100% against Carlos Alcaraz. He's not going to be like, having slow starts and all that stuff. Because if you think about all of the, I think this year, they played 4 times. And, the theme was that Novak starts off slowly. Maybe he needs like 30 minutes to warm up. I think that's low-key even with kind of motivation and being focused, because if you think about the French Open, he won the first set 6-3 versus Alcaraz. He was the better player. If you think about the Wimbledon, he won the first set 6-1, almost bageled him. He was the better player, and frankly, he was the better player up until the set points in the tiebreak. When it comes to Cincinnati, I think he was actually up a break early. Well, I don't remember, but that was 40 Celsius outside. And he was also really sharp in the beginning. And when it comes to this match, he was also really good in the beginning. So I think Novak is really focused versus Carlos Alcaraz. He's extra motivated, and he's not going to play like shit versus him. And the same thing goes with Jannik Sinner. He was perfectly aware of Sinner's qualities, and he was sharp from the beginning. He dominated him, and he won. And like I said, it should have been 6-3, 6-2, or 6-3, 6-1. Now, this video kind of got long. But I wanted to think about Novak's schedule for the 2024 season because, there's a couple of things like Grand Slam number 25, overall tournament number 100. I don't know how many weeks at number 1, blah, blah, blah. And I think this season was great because Novak had these like long breaks. He didn't play the Sunshine Double. He didn't play much in the clay season. He took a break after Wimbledon. He didn't play in Toronto. He then didn't play after the US Open. He basically took a 2-month break. So there was a couple of big breaks in the season. Now, he's going to be able to play the Sunshine Double, and it's going to be kind of interesting, in my opinion, to see if he's actually going to play that, because now, since there is no COVID restrictions, you kind of have the Australian Open in the beginning of the season, and of course it will depend on the result. But let's say he wins actually the Australian Open. If he doesn't play the Sunshine Double, he will again have a 2-month break. But then the clay season starts, and we all know that Novak kind of peaks when it comes to the clay season at Roland Garros. So basically, I mean, in early April, May, he's not going to be playing a lot of good tennis. So is he going to really skip the Sunshine Double? But what's the reward for him if he goes there? Because there is no Grand Slam. So if there would be a Grand Slam in America, let's say there is Canada, Cincinnati, and then there is US Open, I would totally expect Novak to play one Masters, and then he plays the Grand Slam, like he pretty much done in the past couple of years. I mean, the COVID thing kind of messed everything up, but I'm pretty sure that since 2019 he would play every time the same way. He would play Cincinnati and then he would play US Open. And if there would be a Grand Slam after the Sunshine Double, he would play the same way. He would probably play which one's the first Indian ones, then he would play Miami, and then he would play the Grand Slam. But now there is no Grand Slam, so does he go for both? Does he get kind of fatigued and tired? And down the road, there is 2 Grand Slams, plus the Olympic Games, plus again the US Open, plus again everything besides that? Or does he completely skip it and then kind of goes into Monte Carlo off form and basically doesn't produce any good tennis for 4 months? Like, pretty much happened this year, and it worked out fine. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think he's going to play one, which makes no sense. Why would you travel to America to play one Masters? Like, it makes no sense. So he's either going to probably skip Dubai and play both Masters, and be there for a month, pretty much, or he's going to skip everything, maybe play Dubai and, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, later on, I think he's definitely going to skip one Clay Masters. He's going to play in Banja Luka, but obviously not in peak form. I wish he would play in Monte Carlo in a peak form, in a high-quality fashion, because that's the only Masters tournament he didn't win 3 times, and he would complete the career golden Masters things with the Grand Slams. He would win every single Masters tournament and every single Grand Slam at least 3 times, but I don't think he's winning Monte Carlo anytime soon in his career, unless he just randomly decides, let me just do that, let me just focus on that. And then, of course, you have the French Open, you have a small break, you have the Wimbledon, and then I'm not even sure, is it Masters Olympic Games, or Olympic Games Masters? I'm not even sure how does the schedule look, but I'm obviously 100% sure that Novak will be focused on the Olympic Games. Now, how does that work? I mean, he obviously defends a lot of points, but I don't think he cares about the number 1 ranking anymore. He's going to pretty much, I mean, unless Alcaraz wins the Australian Open and Novak loses earlier, he's pretty much guaranteed to be number 1 until the French Open. Unless, like, I don't know, Medvedev or Sinner, for example, randomly just win every single tournament and overtake. And even then, like, he defends absolutely nothing until the French Open. He defends like 500 points past Australian Open to French Open. So, not even maybe, I don't think he even defends 500 points, maybe like 300 something, because he defends a quarterfinal, like a 3rd round, like a ATP 200 quarterfinal, and a Dubai semifinal, so it's like 400 points, whatever it is. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that schedule. I'm not really sure what he's going to do. There is basically 4 major tournaments in, from late May to was that September, 4 major tournaments. I think if he has to sacrifice something, it's probably the French Open. He's probably going to sacrifice the clay season overall. At Wimbledon, he would like to win it, and he's always going to be the favorite at Wimbledon. Actually, look, the odds, and the odds maker said something like Carlos Alcaraz is the favorite. I mean, he's kind of like close to Novak, but they're like, the odds for Alcaraz is like 2.3 to win the tournament, or 2.5, and for Novak is like 2.7. I'm like, dude, like, no, I think Novak is winning the Wimbledon. So yeah, I think he probably sacrifices the whole clay season. Maybe even if he goes by that logic, maybe even he plays Indian Wells and Miami, then just like scratches the whole clay season, and then probably focuses on Wimbledon, the Olympic Games. And then, what happens after, it's absolutely fine. He's always going to be in competition for the US Open, for every Masters he plays, indoors, outdoors, whatever it is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a long-ass video. Kind of just rambling around about Novak's future goals. Hopefully we get to see tournament number 100 at the Australian Open and Grand Slam number 25. For that to happen, he has to play and he has to win a tournament before Australia, like he did last year. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you.